Hello my friends, Russell Wright from Network Empire. I'm the co-inventor of the ThemeZoom.com natural language processing application. It's an SEO tool that helps you rank higher for far fewer inbound links than your competition using a structure called website silo architecture. And that's very much related to the story we're going to cover today, which is, can Google Panda Timeline predict future SEO disasters? This is a little thing I threw together from the SEO search engine land. This is Danny Sullivan's organization, I believe. And the recent article was an infographic that came out which talks about Google Panda. It had some great imagery about Google Panda 1 year later. So those of you who don't know what Google Panda is, they announced a first ever, this is Google, announced a first ever penalty targeting content deemed thin or not good enough. It was really targeting the non-organized or non-thematically clustered websites that were purchasing a lot of inbound links. They were using a lot of link strategies that were less than savory, or as Matt Cutts talks about it, they were linking to bad neighborhoods. And this update, it's called an update because the filters run periodically. Each time it runs, all the content Google knows about is sifted and sorted and looked at again. So it's trying to figure out what is good content and what is bad, and it's starting during those updates with the highest PageRank sites and moving down to the lowest PageRank sites almost through a hierarchy and trying to determine which ones are best. And it will resort those pages. A lot of people woke up one sad morning to find out that the content that they were so cleverly disguising as good, which was really bad linking strategies, Google had found a way to determine whether or not it was artificially themed and clustered. I'm using my own language, but that is one aspect of Google Panda. Now, Google Panda is broken down, and they've done this beautifully in the infographic, into different versions. There's 1.0. The first version of Panda, released in February 2011, seemed especially aimed to deal with complaints that poor content from content farms were making Google results less relevant. And it really was, when we talk about content farm, we talk about website platforms and clusters. For those of you who might be new, clusters of sites and websites that are all created for the sole purpose of creating a backlink strategy. It's a site employing many writers that create content, especially aimed to match popular searches. This hit a few organizations which I don't care a lot about. In fact, I don't like giant content organizations who are disseminating content and lowering the quality of the content. And we're going to get into which organizations were hit badly. And one of them I really don't like very much. And again, this is they're doing some good things, but I don't like the way that they're distributing their content online. So these organizations were hit, and I think it's actually good that they were hit when you look at it from the perspective of unique content creation. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that next step. The second version of Panda that came out was Panda 2.0. And Panda 2.0 was in April of 2011. It rolled out to handle all the English queries, the new updates, including searches. It really covered a lot of different things and really started to scare people. Every month after Panda 2.0 went live, Google continued to make minor changes. And the update began to have monthly schedules. I know Sue Bell at ThemeZoom, Network Empire, she's the mastermind software architect behind our applications, is watching constantly to see what updates are coming through, because there's some funky monkey changes going on all around the world. There are all kinds of languages joining the ranks of Panda: Chinese, Japanese, Korean. They've got some pretty hefty algorithms going on over at the Googleplex that deal with making sure that there's no gaming happening. And watch out for the flux is another aspect of it. With previous Panda's updates, once they were released, sites were either hit or not hit all at once. With Google 2.5, Google warned of the flux. They're letting us know in advance that there's going to be some fluctuations in rankings across your themes. Again, folks, this is one of the reasons why I'm such a hardcore salesman for website silo architecture, which is another way, in ordinary language, it's basic language, it's a way of saying design your website so that it's sustainable, so that it imitates nature. Really, if you look at even some of the principles in biology, which we call phyllotaxis, nature organizes itself around clustered themes. And these clustered themes allow the branches to know that it's connected to the tree, and for the tree to know that it's connected to the earth. So there's all these grounding principles that are happening. Well, data hierarchy is following a similar kind of connected patterns, and we're going to talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about this in our membership site, Network Empire, and the rest. And I'm fascinated and passionate about this topic because the way that Google thinks is so natural. It's so hierarchical in the way that it structures its power. And that's what I like about some of the basic principles of data hierarchy that are still working. So let's go ahead and look at, and then they talk about Panda 3.0. There was no blog post, and it seemed to impact relatively few publishers, according to this release. It was October. Google quietly released Panda 3.0. But after the fact, Google said that this was a major update, but shed no light on what exactly they had changed. And this is really huge. I believe that I understand many of the aspects of what Panda 3.0 is, but because it's probably a cognitive illusion, and a lot of analysts out there are trying to determine what the changes were, I believe it deals with content curation, a lot of the changes in the industry around content curation, having to do with Pub's Hubbub, which is I probably didn't even say that right. It's a new publishing protocol that inserts itself in front of RSS. And allows RSS to be a little bit more savvy and efficient. We'll talk a lot more about how this works. And, this is some pretty hefty stuff that's, changing in the market. And then, as we round this as we kind of deal with this whole topic, a year of a Panda, you can see the overall global changes that happen. Here's the exact dates. The dates don't matter as much as you just understanding what this means to you. Here's the organizations that were hit. About.com. I've been watching About.com for several years. I've never found their pages that exciting. To me, it always seemed, even when I hung out with the vice president of About.com SEO conference 2007, I didn't really feel like the content had that much value to me, mostly because they kind of commoditized the writing. And it's said that it experienced a fairly moderate negative impact due to the Panda updates. I haven't seen a lot of About Us pages around recently. Have you? Maybe I'm just missing some stuff, but they look like they've been hit pretty hard. Another one is Yahoo itself. Yahoo, I just sometimes feel sorry for this company because they've just made so many bad moves and so many negative things happening to them. But Yahoo retired its associated content site that was hit. Gosh, I remember when I was making a lot of money off the Yahoo directory listings, 3 to 4 years ago. A lot has changed since that stuff has happened. And then, of course, the big baddie, the one that I am maybe not as friendly towards as I could be, is Demand Media. Remember, Demand Media owns ehow.com, and I feel like they've really lowered the value of how-to and help content. I feel like they've diluted the market quite a bit. I talk about this in my private membership area at networkempire.com, where we talk about interesting but incomplete content and how that can literally turn your $5,000 a month business into a $5 million a year business when you understand membership sites, login, and interesting but incomplete. Many of you probably realize that Facebook is a logged-in company. Google is actually at war, with the other companies in some ways to have the universal login. Even if they say they're not, because of all the differences and changes happening on Google, you have Google logged in, you have Google logged out, and you have Google personal, and you have Google proper or Google legacy. So there's really some amazing things happening. And as you have a major increase of people who are logged into Google, Google knows every move. They're retargeting ads, and you probably noticed that already. When you're logged into Google, they know everything about you, and there's all these things that you have to pay attention to. The search engine results are different than when you're logged out, more or less. So you have all these factors that are in play. But the bottom line, the underbelly of all of this is, are you logged in to a major corporation versus not logged in and just logging through your own browser? And this is the war that's happening. And Facebook, Google, the rest, these are some of the major organizations that you're logged into while you're surfing. And Demand Media really had lowered the cost and the value of content for eHow. I'd like to see the value of their content going up, so that this interesting and complete idea that they've really commoditized the how-to market can go away. I would like to see people that provide higher value. I would like to see how-to and information and quality information distributed across the Googleplex and the Google network, more exclusively, so that major brands don't own the exclusive rights to these kind of content farms, and that they're networking them and commoditizing the writers. My main concern is for the writers, for the work-at-home moms who write for Demand Media at pennies on the dollar, while Demand Media monetizes that network for tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars per day. So these are things to think about. All of these are major corporations, and they're all moving in different directions, but this is a little bit about the Google Panda, might give you my own unique perspective on that. And then, of course, I wouldn't be closing this discussion on Google Panda if I didn't talk about sites that contain, how do you escape the Panda, the almighty evil Panda? Well, Panda is a site-wide penalty. If enough pages are tagged as poor, the entire site is subject to Panda. So here's the things that you need to watch out for, okay? Avoid duplicate content within your own site. And please don't check every single one of my sites for this, because my WR2 blogs are probably pretty bad. I'm cleaning a lot of those up. But my WRS1s and 2s are really focal points. Try to keep your own duplicate content off of your site. Try to avoid pages that have millions of the same kind of things. Make sure your repeatable items that you might have in the frame are in iframes, so that you're not repeating them on every page. Make sure if you're blogging that you're not repeating your tags or your tag pages. These are little ways that you can increase the value of your content. And one thing that still works, and our technology has been literally unaffected by it, is website silo architecture. Okay, you can visit, silouniversity.com if you want more information on that. That'll take you right to this page. Silo University teaches my students, and I'm ongoing education with this. Here's a little bit on Matt Cutts talking about themed architecture. He calls it a little bit something different. This is a principle we've been using for years to effectively rank higher on the search engines across thousands, not hundreds of keywords, but thousands of keywords, using far fewer inbound links than our competition by the mere fact that we're using nature's own principle, which are emulated in logical hierarchies within the Dataplex or Google. And it just makes sense. It's not even like a law or a trick or a hack. It's just using what Google is already doing to provide, to cluster the best ideas with the most interest and the best content that's not duplicate and that's not copied content, with unique meaning projected onto the web page. And that's really what it is that we're teaching our students. We also have our own technologies around this, and this wouldn't be complete if I didn't pitch you on something. So I'll let you know that we do have technologies that deal with this data hierarchy. This is what we call website silo architecture. I designed it because I know it helps people. It helps them keep their websites higher on the search engine, using far fewer inbound links by using Google's own natural language processing and keyword clustering and relevancy clustering technologies. And that's exciting stuff, because I believe in sustainable business, and you should too. Sustainable business means that you understand what's happening with the engines, and you're designing your technologies to withstand the test of time, that you're not commoditizing content and turning content into junk and just trying to get as much content as you can. Have quality content with new meaning. And that's really what Google is becoming, the ultimate curation company. I teach students around the world how to curate content, videos, thematic clustering, and the rest. It's important that everybody knows that the changes that are coming into play have to do with the quality of content, that Google is not going to stand for bad content over the next few years, and that they want ideas to drive the market, not the organization with the largest amount of content. Okay, and so that being said, I'd like to thank the infographics company at Search Engine Land for a powerful infographics and a great idea. Search Engine Land is a company that deals with huge amounts of SEO content. They've really got their eyes on the ball. So please do feel free to follow us at themezoom.com and join our membership site at networkempire.com. And we do look forward to seeing you on the inside. And keep it sustainable, keep it dependable, and make sure that you're not driving quantity content. Make sure you're moving in towards quality content and providing new meaning in a world where information overload is being confused for meaning making. And we really want to increase the meaning and the value of the content and the material that we provide for our business and for our customers, and for all business owners in the world. It's time for you to start becoming experts in all of these areas and providing uniquely positioned value that distinguishes you from the rest of the world on all the search engines, as well as your video material and your blogs. Russell Wright from networkempire.com. I look forward to seeing you on the inside.